I want to take us through a journey of how you go into an organization and you make your own difference. And what are those few things you need to do to be the best? Not the best that people think you should be, but the best at that particular field. Without trying to show off. I always believe, and one of my lecturers told me something that changed my mindset when we were in school. She said that what you know, no one can take it away from you. And that changed my life. Like, literally changed my life. So I asked myself, every time I want to do a task, I'm engaged in anything, I ask myself, what do I know about these things? What do I know? Do I have the same knowledge everyone has? Or do I have something that I can use to beat everyone? So I try to gain knowledge. And knowledge is easy to gain, thanks to Google. You don't need to have everything stored in your head. You only need to have 3 minutes, good data, and a time to sit down and read. And we all know English, right? Yeah, so that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know, right? So know, and that's the first part. I've started my presentation. If the slide comes, it's still the same thing. So the first thing I say is, what do you know? If you're in any environment, what's your knowledge base about that environment? So you got a job. Yes, you got engaged as a financial analyst, as a business development manager. But the way you understand business development, the way you were taught entrepreneurship, the way you were taught HR, that might not be the way the company does HR. That might not be the way the company does business development. So if you're a smart person, the first thing you need to do is observe the new environment you find yourself and ask yourself, what is priority to these people? How do they want these things to be done? When you have clarity on this, then you can now bring forth your own idea. And so it means that with the knowledge of the environment that you've observed, with the knowledge that you have inside of you, you're going to sit down and ask yourself, okay, what are they doing? What can they do better? What are they doing wrong? Do you understand? And then when you want to speak at any point in time, whether through in meetings, to another colleague or to your superior, you will speak intelligently. And that's what would give you a place in the organization. If you have a conversation with someone about something you know, okay, so praise God. I'll slide this up. All right, so I'll try and run as fast as I can. So this is it. Oh, I think one of my slides is missing. So this is an organization. Every organization has gaps. So these are the circles, and they're looking for people to fill them. And you know what recruitment does? Recruitment gets people like you and I that are full circle, and then try to place them in this to cover the gaps, right? But the challenge of this is this. Every organization hopes to grow. Every organization is engaging you so that they will become this, right? What happens after 3 years, after 2 years, after 2 months, after they get their business break? You would not be fit anymore. That's the reality of the company. So you'll be offended if they have to tell you to go. But the truth is the circle has become bigger because the organization has grown bigger. Do you understand? Now, this is where the decision is. So that's the circle. It's either you stay where you are and you go out, or you decide to grow up. That's the only reality. That's the only next thing you need to do, right? So we said, how do we grow up? How do we remain relevant in any organization? And what we said was, there are 3 things you need to do for yourself. And that's the cone. So if you go back and put a cone, and you're a cone right from this point, what would happen is you would just, as the organization expands, you fit in more, right? If you put in a cone here, as the organization expands, what happens? You fit in more. As it expands, you do what? You fit in more. And that's why we said you should be a cone rather than be a circle and just be a match for the current time. So, and this is it. Knowledge, execution, and mastery. And so I'm going to talk about them one after the other. So I started with, for knowledge, you need to observe your environment. You need to do a whole lot of research. You need to know what you need to know, right, before you speak. So if you're in presence of your line manager, your boss, don't talk. Don't be eager to say something. No, be eager to learn. Be eager to understand. Why do they do what they do? How do they do what they do? That's your first priority in any setting, in any engagement. All right? The next thing is, for you, is execute. But what you need to do is practice. So you've known how they do what they want to do. They do in this organization, right? Then you practice. You go test it and see if it's true. Or if it's just a one-off. You practice. You seek guidance. There are people in that system before you. So play the novice and humble yourself. Go and ask, oh, I want to do this. What do you think? I want to do this. What do you think? I want to do this. What do you think? And you know what? People are so much eager to help you out. So ask. Ask for help. You don't have to be the best. Just ask. In asking for help, do you know what will happen? When you will act, your work will be the best work amidst the rest. Why? Because you're not just acting on your own wisdom, you're acting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus you're small. So when your work is always outstanding. Do you understand? The next thing is gain mastery. So in this mastery, the thought process is that you readapt and you reproduce. So you've learned how they send mails, right? There's a format. But have you learned how they do proposal? So what we're saying is, you've gained the knowledge, you've executed, you've acted out. That same principle you use in acting out, try it in other areas. And if you get the same result, then you've gained mastery. So it means that for every task you need to do, you have the underlying principle of how this task should be done excellently. And when you readapt, you would be able to lead people naturally. People will come to you. So in any organization, people go to the person that would naturally solve problems. You know that. Even if you are not the leader, if you're the person that solves the highest problem, people will naturally come to you. So in your own way, you might not have the title of GMCEO, but you're the leader. And everyone knows. Do you understand? So it's not the title. Don't get carried away by the titles. It's good, yes, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is what knowledge do you have, how well do you execute, and how have you mastered the things you can do. That you can tell someone, you know what, I can make you have the same result I have now. And you test it, and the person will get the same result. Right? So this is the C.O.N.E theory. And the C.O.N.E theory says that for your environment, you need to first observe and research. As you go along, you practice and you seek guidance. And then at the end of it, you readapt and you reproduce. For yourself, you need to have knowledge, you need to execute, and you need to gain mastery. For your output in terms of what you do, you need to speak, you need to act, and you need to lead. So observe and research, then you have knowledge, then before you speak. Practice and seek guidance, then you execute before you act. Readapt and reproduce to gain mastery before you say you're a leader or before you lead people. So what do I need to do? And I'm coming to the end of my slide. So what do I need to do? What's this C.O.N.E all about? Be C.O.N.E. What is this? And C says, be curious. I'm missing a slide here. C says stands for being curious. Ask why. You're given a task. Why? Why do they want the task done? The most important thing is for you to have an understanding of what needs to be done. Right? If you have an understanding of what needs to be done, you can decide how you want to do it. So most times we just want to do a task, but we don't have an understanding. We don't have the idea of why this thing is important. So we go our own way. But if you have an understanding why it's important, you will know that's why you need to turn it up 3 o'clock and not 5. Do you understand? The second thing is be open-minded. Do not be boxed. Do not feel you know. Be open-minded. Research, Google it, ask people. Ask anyone, ask everyone, right? Ensure that every task you are working on is needful. So I've seen people be so busy on nothing. So like, I always ask myself this question, this task, who is it helping? What's the need for this task? Right? And before you even leave your superior, ensure that this task it's being needed in the organization before you go into it. All right, otherwise you're wasting your time, and that's not a good thing to do. And then be excellent. So I said, is this the best way it can be done? So you finished the proposal, you've finished drafting the mail, well, ask yourself, is this the best way it can be done? The first thing I ask myself is, before you even crack your brain, and most times we like using our head, it's good. But wait, there are over 8 billion people on earth, right? The internet has been existing in some countries before it came here. Somebody, somewhere, has done and perfected what you're about to write. Before you now start, can you just take 2 minutes, go and research about this thing. Get a template, read, understand, then customize. Why are you trying to bring it from your head when you've never done this thing before? Do you understand? So be excellent. So once you've done it, well, ask yourself, has someone ever done it? How did they do it? Can I be better than them? And then so ensure that if you have 3 standards templates, yours is the best and yours is the fourth, even though you'd have to take from them, right? Most importantly, for you to have it in you having a C.O.N.E mindset, it's ensure that every point in time, you're adding value.